work-life balance is a must-have.
But sending a mail at 1 a.m. hardly sounds like a work-life balance.
What do you mean? They're two completely different things. Work-life balance is how you handle your personal life. When you answer your email is a personal choice.
In my entire career, I missed only one meeting. I still regret it, and I swore I'll never ever make that mistake again.
Managers would like employees to work 24/7, but employees are no longer finding 24/7 working fashionable. Work-life balance has become a very in thing these days.
Welcome to another episode of Jest Business podcast series. I thought today we'll talk about work-life balance.
Good idea.
I always thought myself to be a bit of champion of this monkeying around after work. In fact, my colleagues tell me I got so good that I started monkeying around during work as well. What do you think about this whole work-life balance?
Well, first, personally, I would say I'm a terrific balancer. Especially after retiring last year, I've been throwing like crazy and balancing stuff like mad. But I would say even before retirement, I think I got it mostly right. Work, as I say, and I like to put it in a poetic form, Rahul. Work should be fun, but it should not be overdone. Poetic, right?
Oh, absolutely. But interestingly enough, you say work should be fun. And I'm trying to see, unless you're a professional wine taster, I don't know how work can be fun.
Okay. Let's leave that fun, how work can be fun as a topic for another podcast, I mean. But for now, at least we both agree that work is funny. In fact, that's why we're doing this podcast and we're having fun doing it. So on that note, how do you suggest we have fun while doing this whole topic about work-life balance?
So, Paddy, I would suggest we defer to a time-tested technique of doing a role play, where you're Patrick Montgomery, the CEO of our fictitious company, Alpha Beta Pipes, and I will be the clueless junior employee trying to ask questions. So, Paddy, what do you think about that? Paddy, if you can take your eyes off the phone and answer the question.
Who are you calling Paddy? The name is Patrick Montgomery, and only my wife, since last 2-3 years, and my mother have the permission to call me Paddy. Most of the youngsters in my company, out of respect for my senior level, address me as Mr. Montgomery. You may use that if you also want to show respect. Otherwise, if you have to use my first name, please use its full form. I am Patrick.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were still in the... Okay, sorry. So, Mr. Patrick Montgomery, my apologies. Our employees call you lots of names and none of them is Paddy. So, Mr. Patrick Montgomery, my question to you is, what is your view about work-life balance in general? Oh, you're still on your phone. It's all right. Take your time.
Sorry. I was on the email with our HR director, Sarah Hawksmith. What an HR director. Sorry, you asking me a question? What was that again?
Yeah. My question was, what is your idea about this whole thing about work-life balance?
Oh, it's a terrific idea. I love it. Absolutely for it. I often say normal companies, work-life balance is a must-have. But in Alpha, Beta Pipes, it's a very must-have.
Interesting. But how would you say about your own work-life balance?
Oh, you mean myself personally? Yeah. Terrible. I'm a workaholic, I do 16 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Okay.
When I say 7 days a week, you get it right. It includes the weekends. You got that?
Yeah.
So I'm like that. And that's one of the big reasons for my success, where I am today. Of course, in addition to my brilliance and my strategic thinking and all that. So yeah, I'm a workaholic.
Oh, interesting. But you do advocate work-life balance for
I just said that, of course. Have you not read our Montgomery manifesto?
Oh, no, of course. I've read it. Make Alpha Beta Pipes great again and again. I remember that.
Oh my God, you remember the whole thing. That's excellent, actually. There was one employee, after 1 year of working with us, she still did not know the Montgomery mantra by heart. She's an ex-employee now, as you can imagine.
Of course.
But that is the Montgomery mantra. I'm talking about the Montgomery manifesto. It's on all the walls in the office. You've recently joined, you've not seen it. It's also on all our business cards.
Actually, Mr. Montgomery, I haven't got my business cards yet.
Oh, you haven't got your business cards
No.
yet? No worries, no worries. Why don't you take mine? It's written in small font at the back.
Okay.
And you can read the Montgomery manifesto over there. And just give me a moment. Let me write to Sarah Hawksworth.
I see it right there. Work-life balance is not just balance. We do it and you love it. I love that. It's great. So, Mr. Montgomery, so I assume you're advocating work-life balance for the employees.
Yes, I am. And I just emailed Sarah Hawksworth to ensure that she moves her backside and gets you your business cards as soon as possible.
Okay.
And when I was sending her the email, I was actually trying to display something. What do you think that was?
The fact that I don't have my business cards and you want them?
Oh my God.
No?
That's obvious, man. That's like saying you breathe because you need the oxygen. I'm asking you, what is the underlying reason why I emailed her now? Let me tell you, I was trying to do some coaching here. I'm an amazing coach. Most of the people tell me that even without being asked. In fact, you'll be saying it after this session with me. So I was using it as an example to coach you. And I was coaching you on a display of something. What do you think that was? What was I displaying?
Fact that you can send an email from your phone?
No, man. Now you're being stupid. I was displaying a sense of urgency. It's right there on the manifesto.
Yes, of course, Mr. Montgomery. It's right there in the manifesto. What is our currency? It is urgency. I love it. It's amazing.
Excellent. I really like the way you're taking this manifesto to heart. You'll go a long way in the company.
In fact, Mr. Montgomery, I'll commit this manifesto to my memory.
Don't interrupt me. What was I saying?
That I will go a long way in the company.
No, after that.
Actually, because I interrupted you, we never really said anything.
That's obvious. But what I'm saying is, what was I going to say?
Since you never said it, I don't know. But I'm sure it being you, it would have been something very memorable.
It's a trivial excuse, but I think I got it. I was trying to say that I was displaying a sense of urgency even as I was acting. A normal CEO would take the news that you did not have your business card with the too bad. A good CEO would ensure that they wrote an email to the HR director after the meeting. But a truly excellent CEO, such as me, takes the time then and there to send the email so that I'm showing you
how to type fast. That's a sense of urgency. A sense of urgency.
Exactly.
Yes.
And by the way, in the beginning, when you called me Paddy, I don't know what made you call me Paddy, huh? When you called me Paddy in the beginning, that time too, I was displaying a sense of urgency. You won't know why, but let me tell you.
Please.
Last night at about 9 p.m., I had sent Sarah Hawksworth an email about something, and she had replied at 1 a.m., and I was just answering that. Sarah Hawksworth's a terrific HR director. Sense of display coming out of her pores, She always, on the ball, 24/7. Send her email, get a reply. You're looking a little confused. What's happened? It's like, I get the feeling you sat on an ice cream that's a particularly favorite flavor.
Yeah, no, it's... Mr. Montgomery, you just said you believe in work-life balance.
Yes, I do.
It's also part of the Montgomery manifesto,
which you
work-life balance.
Recited
it's about balance. And you also recommend work-life balance for all your employees?
Must do. Very must do.
But sending a mail at 1 a.m. hardly sounds like a work-life balance
What do you mean? They're two completely different things. Work-life balance is how you handle your personal life. When you answer your email is a personal choice. Sarah likes to send it at 1 a.m. and balance her life after 1 a.m. That's perfectly up to her. You're still looking like that ice cream is troubling you. Tell me.
Yes. So if you send a mail after office hours, it should be normal. Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's how I choose to use my work life. For example, okay, let's clear this. Let's say tonight I send you an email. Let's say at about 9:30 p.m. What will you do? It's up to you, totally up to you. When would you like to
Respond the next
day?
Like a slacker? Never. I will respond to it right then and there.
I think that's superb. I said it earlier, when you recited the Montgomery mantra,
Right.
You'll go a long way. Ensure that you recite the mantra every night after brushing your teeth. It works best that time. And also live and breathe the manifesto. With the mantra is the what. The manifesto is the how.
Brilliant.
Get those two right,
The what and
and
the
you're
how.
going to go far, far, far.
The what and the how. Brilliant.
I think, shall we get out of the role play?
Yes, absolutely.
And now you can call me Paddy, by the way.
Thanks, Paddy. So, viewers, what you saw, although Patrick Montgomery is a fictitious CEO, the scenario is pretty much real, and most of us experience in our daily lives. You have leaders who preach work-life balance, who recommend work-life balance, who insist on work-life balance, yet in their personal lives, they'll be extremely busy. In olden days, these are the guys who used to come to office on weekends, access the papers, the file work. Today, they take the work with them back home on weekends and are busy on email warriors or WhatsApp messages. On one hand, trying to balance playing with the kids, but on the other hand, persistently busy trying to craft a mission statement or change the destiny with artificial intelligence.
Are Rahul, even today, with laptops with everybody, I know CEOs who still come to the office with the laptops on a Sunday. I suspect they do it so that they can sit in the office at that time and type an email to the boss saying something like, sitting in this quiet office, nobody there, gives me the time to come up with a strategic vision and really come up with some ideas for some out-of-the-box thinking to leverage AI to take the company forward and move our whole paradigm into the next level, that kind of stuff, In fact, Rahul, let's demonstrate the propensity of some of these CEOs to work 24/7 by doing another role play. And let's confuse our listeners by seamlessly, effortlessly just switching roles. You be Patrick Montgomery, and I'll be the journalist interviewing you on your leadership style, especially your amazing work ethic. Are you ready?
All right. I'm ready.
So, Mr. Montgomery, it's been great to hear about the great success of Alpha Beta Pipes and your role in it, your leadership, especially your work ethic, working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I want to put it in perspective by asking you a hypothetical question about what you would regret more when you're on your deathbed.
What?
No, just imaginary, Mr. Montgomery. You're not going to be on your deathbed for a long, long time. But just imagine, if you were on your deathbed, which is not going to happen, which of these two statements would you regret more? Statement 1, I did not attend enough meetings, especially after 6 p.m. on weekends. Or statement 2, I did not spend enough time with my children.
Is this a trick question?
No, it's a true question, Mr. Montgomery.
It's obvious, no? The answer is obviously 1. In fact, I remember in my entire career, I missed only 1 meeting. Wow. And this was on Christmas Day, which incidentally also fell on a Sunday. I remember it very well because that was that Christmas Sunday when my parents were visiting me from overseas after almost 3 years after their medical recovery. And after all that, I had to miss this meeting because my boss had suddenly called a team meeting then, and I had to really apologize profusely and miss that meeting. To this date, I still regret it, and I swore I'll never, ever make that mistake again.
And you have not?
I have not. I gone even one better. In fact, I organized several of these meetings myself to make sure my team gets the urgency of work. I really wish I attended that meeting. Wow. Mr. Rangappa, you said I worked 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. You know what's the most tragic part of it? I could have worked 24 hours.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, after many regrets, but I will fix that. How was that?
Excellent. That was superb. You brought out the workaholic nature of such CEOs brilliantly. And in fact, by ending by saying you organize such meetings yourself is a perfect segue to the next part of such CEOs. Not only do they work like crazy, not only are they workaholics, but they expect the same 24/7 urgent culture from their employees.
Absolutely. It's like, they put a spot of ink in one part of the pool, it just spreads itself
Yes.
across the whole pool, and soon the whole pool is blue.
I mean, they're like standing with the ink pot on top of
Absolutely.
the whole organization.
Exactly.
They probably have a target of how many hours a week. What do you think the employee should work?
They would dare not put it in writing, but I'm sure there's a kind of expectation at least that, employees work a minimum certain unreasonable hours of work. In fact, I think the magic number should be around 10.
Yes.
Minimum number of hours the employee works per day per week is less than 10. They probably would think there are too many employees or too little projects, and then take this as an excuse to lay off the employees, or maybe, just take on more projects and overload the employees.
Yeah.
In fact, Paddy, it's all falling very nicely in a mathematical equation. Maths was my strong point.
Oh, okay.
Although my teachers never agreed with that. If P be the number of projects,
okay,
and Q be the number of hours per week per project,
I'm following you so far.
and let's say number of employees be E,
Okay.
then P into Q
Okay.
divided by E into 5 for the number of days a week
5 days
should
a week.
be greater than 10. That's the optimal ratio as per the hard driving managers.
Wow. Rahul, this is like business jargon. You've taken a simple idea and rendered it complex with the use of a mathematical equation. Well done. Really good. And I feel it should be a waste to let such mathematics, such complication go to waste. I'm thinking, just building on the mathematical equation, I'm proposing a theorem that kind of builds on this, which is that managers will either decrease the employees or increase the projects in order to achieve job equilibrium, which is defined as an average of 10 hours per day per employee. How's that?
Brilliant. I think let's call it the Just business law of work-life balance inadequacy. Which is to say, simply put, if the number of working hours per day is less than 10, the whole organization will magically conspire and realign its priorities so that the number of working hours per day per employee always stays higher than 10.
Wow. Wow.
Let's call it the Just business principle of work-life balance inadequacy. How's that?
Oh, I love it. So we started already with something reasonably complex, an equation. I upgraded that to a theorem, and you just took it another step with the JB law. I love it. I love it.
I mean, we are managers, Paddy. Our job is to make simple things complex.
But now let's cover the hiccup.
Which is?
Managers are demanding, would like employees to work 24/7. But the kebab mein haddi, or, that's a Hindi term to say bone in a boneless, tasty piece of meat, is employees are no longer finding 24/7 working fashionable. Work-life balance has become a very in thing these days. So, in fact, imagine on the left is the CEO who works 24/7 and like a workaholic.
Mm-hmm.
And on the right, the CEO's desire that all employees work exactly like that 24/7.
Okay.
Then in between is a roadblock, work-life balance that the employees want.
Right.
How does the CEO still get 24/7 workaholism when this barrier is in between? They jump over it. Now imagine me jumping, arrow this way, and on top, I put demanding sense of urgency. So you don't ask for 24/7 work, you just demand a sense of urgency.
Brilliant. Brilliant. So you can couch your, let's say, lack of acceptance of work-life balance as a work practice by couching it in a sense of urgency.
And then you can be like Montgomery for both. I'm all for work-life balance. It's in the manifesto, but so is sense of urgency.
Absolutely.
Go figure.
So it's like saying, I definitely want an omelette, but please make sure you don't break the egg.
Exactly.
All right. But Paddy, in these days of 24/7 work culture, having this work-life balance is almost a doomed task. There have been many recent anecdotes or episodes where corporate leaders asked for some commitments, or they made some statements on work-life balance for which they were faced a bit of heat from the media and from the people as well.
I think this Narayan Murthy demanded 70 hours per week, which kind of comes to our formula of 10 hours per day, including weekends. And I think the backlash lasted much more than 70 hours. Huh?
Absolutely. If you remember, even the L&T MD or the chairman, I'm not so sure about the title, he also asked people not just to work hard, but also to work smart. People basically just smarted because, in this days of 24/7 and work-life balance, any such things are kind of mistaken, and it's disguised overwork as urgency. It really doesn't have much appeal and does cause a lot of heartburn, both among the leaders as well as the employees. The problem is, I think, most of this stems from the original flaw of mistaking activity for productivity.
Yes.
If just by merely being busy were a virtue, hamsters would have been ruling mankind.
Exactly. Sense of urgency, though, has become an easy way, that a legitimate way, let's say, of demanding excellent work. And many companies are doing, as you yourself, would have noticed.
So true. Paddy, it's amazing how popular this sense of urgency is among the corporate leadership. In fact, there's a quote here in Amazon's leadership principle. They say, we have a bias for action and a sense of urgency.
So true. And here, I'll give you another one. This is from a McDonald CEO.
Mm-hmm.
We are moving with a sense of urgency. That's the quote.
I'll match our McDonald's and with a G. We listen with humility and act with urgency.
Oh, you're making it a game, but you're betting on the wrong horse, Rahul. I'm going to raise the ante. Let me give you Coca-Cola quotation. We aspire to perform with a sense of urgency.
I see a Coca-Cola and raise you an IBM. We strive to create a culture that fosters creativity and a sense of urgency.
I'm still in the game. I'm not folding yet. Let me give you...
Let's stop. I think the viewers have got the drift of it.
Okay, yeah. We should keep the objective of the podcast in mind. Yeah.
So, similar to this, there are many examples of P&G, McDonald's, Facebook, Johnson & Johnson, all insisting on urgency, as if urgency were the only thing that's to be done at the cost of everything else.
Yeah.
This problem with this focus on urgency is because the urgency always flows top down, and the accountability always flows top up. So the person who's often demanding the urgency is not accountable to say, why is it urgent?
Yeah.
So you just force feed urgency down the value chain, and accountability flows down up, and that's what causes this massive conflict.
And it's just become kind of expected that you do things fast. I remember, many, many years ago when I was new in the company, I got chided by my manager for not acting on a suggestion from the big regional boss given in a meeting 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks had passed. I said, but that idea is for next year. My manager was confused. So what? I said, so it's not urgent. I got a long lecture on how inculcating a sense of urgency would help me career-wise, especially if it was accompanied by that other skill, fire in the belly.
Yeah, that's true. Another anecdote which I remember, we were hiring for open position, and my manager said, Rahul, what we should look for in this candidate is the ability to handle tremendous workload and a focus on urgency. I said, what about the ability to get the job done? He looked at me as if, I asked him an extremely stupid question, as if it really didn't matter. So all the focus was just again on urgency, and the candidates, it's like he would have rather hired a hamster than a human because it just showed a higher sense of urgency.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, this urgency has become so fashionable. We quoted, we went on and on. We could have gone on and on more, but you rightly put a stop to it. Many companies that have sense of urgency. And I know famous people advocate the sense of urgency. You've heard of Malcolm Gladwell, famous author.
The 10,000 hours guy, right?
Yes. Yeah. And here is a quote from him. And he's talking about transformative change. People who really managed to change things dramatically. People who bring big transformative change have 1, courage, 2, they know how to reframe the problem, and 3, a sense of urgency. And Mr. Gladwell's words come through as gospel because he's got millions of fans.
He's a legend.
Management guru. But here, while his statement is true, it is grossly misleading because he has combined two irrefutable traits of change agents, with a third, which is possessed probably by everybody. I know personally entrepreneurs who have acted with a tremendous sense of urgency, working night and day. And the only transformative change they have had is on their bank balance negatively. They have supervised resounding flops. So by combining sense of urgency with two good traits, it's very misleading. I love to give a tennis analogy. So I wrote down one to match Mr. Gladwell. Tennis players who rise to the pinnacle have 1, immense talent, 2, an unwavering will to win, and 3, a decent pair of tennis shoes.
So the decent pair of tennis shoes being the sense of urgency.
Yes.
So Paddy, the sense of urgency in this new age JDs has become like the minimum job requirement.
Exactly.
Everything else is optional, but minimum job requirement, you have to have a sense of urgency. My sense is if you're headed to the edge of a cliff, it's best not to show a sense of urgency. It's more important to do things right and then to do them fast or do them urgently. So I think, Paddy, with that, we are pretty much kind of close to the end of today's topic.
Yes.
I think, as usual, we should ask our viewers, if you have any examples of any misunderstood or misinterpreted sense of urgency practices in your workplace, please do send in them to justbusinesspodcast@gmail.com.
Yes, and before we end, I am hoping that a lot of your managers, the listeners, managers are also listening to this podcast and stop demanding a sense of urgency from you. But even if they don't, on your own, practice not getting carried away by sense of urgency. Inculcate a work-life balance in your own lives.
Paddy, I think we'll be very remiss if we don't tell our viewers, send your anecdotes ASAP. We need it pronto, right away.
Yes. And send it to, once again, justbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. For that, bye-bye.
All right.